The Monsters Playbook is an adventure podcast for grown-ups. It contains violence and profanity and deals with adult themes that may be uncomfortable for some listeners. Specific content warnings can be found in the episode show notes. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to a special Off the Books episode. Lauren, Jonny, and myself are joined by some guests from the Actual Play podcast, Pest Control. Sam, William, and Sam are here to join us.
Hello!
Oh my god.
Hello! You can say hi. Our listeners won't bite, I don't think.
Damn.
They can't get you through their headphones.
This episode, we will be playing a new game written and designed by Devin Nelson, The Conservatory. Sam has graciously offered to guide us in playing this game, and I'm going to turn things over to you, Sam, so that I can stop talking.
Fair enough. Hi, my name is Sam Richardson. I am the keeper of Pest Control. And I have brought the Conservatory, which is a tarot-based collaborative storytelling game for 1 to 5 players. I note that we have 6 players, about founding a powerful esoteric and occult institution, setting it in motion, and tracing its history as it becomes shaped by and embroiled in havoc, leaving a perilous impact on the world.
Devin has such a way with words.
I know. Devin Nelson, also a guest on Pest Control, which is how I found out about this game. They are a absolutely wonderful, not only player, but game designer who has designed a bunch of very cool stuff. I believe that you can check them out at devindecibel.itch.io. That's Devin Decibel, DEVINDECIBEL.itch.io. So, a little bit of upfront rules for the Conservatory. This game is a world-building game sort of in the vein of things like The Ground itself, or in the vein of The Quiet Year, which is, I think, sort of the prototypical tabletop world-building game at this point. The Conservatory is an ominous and enigmatic institution. It could be a magical college, a mysterious church, an inscrutable greenhouse, a cursed performing arts academy, a shadowy spy agency, a haunted film studio, a spooky hunting lodge, a notorious corporation, a terrifying martial arts gym, a bizarre hospital, or any sort of organization doing the work, capital W. A craft influenced by otherworldly forces. To play, gather 1 to 4 players. Again,
We're going to game jam.
Blowing that out here.
Or more.
Or more.
Follow the rules.
I think there's a plus. I think maybe Devin forgot a little plus there. Or play solo. You will need a tarot deck, a collection of about 12 stones or tokens, and a means for taking notes. We have a little tarot deck set up in playingcards.io. And we also have a Google Doc to take some notes for ourselves. This says you may want to draw a map, but that is optional. I'm choosing optional. In this case, I think it would be hard to do a map with all 6 of us.
Audio medium.
Yeah, audio medium. Not really gonna translate. This game is played out in eras, each of which will have its own bookend. As such, it can be played as a standalone experience with as many eras as needed, or as a world-building game for another system. While the story will generate characters as it proceeds, players will be focused on collectively embodying the Council, capital C, a vague, shifting collection of unknowable figures at the periphery of the story, making decisions about the nature and fate of the Conservatory. The Council could be shadow investors, the true administrators, lurking demons, enigmatic gods, or just the ghost that haunts the building. No one will ever be sure. Lauren, would you read the setup section here?
I love to read. All right. To begin, shuffle the tarot deck and check in with your group about safety tools and any topics you aren't interested in including in the story, which we've done. During setup, the group can pick prompts they are interested in or draw cards to choose random ones. For this purpose, the Fool, 0, and Major Arcana cards above 14 are discarded when drawn. Pages, Knights, Queens, and Kings represent 11, 12, 13, and 14, respectively. Decide on a turn order, perhaps based on who has the most esoteric esoteric training, formal or not?
Hey, who has the most esoteric training amongst all of us?
Jonny does.
Because it ain't me.
It's not me.
I mean, I was gonna say Jonny.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by training.
Uh-huh. But do tell.
I just know a bunch of weird stuff.
Fair.
I'm just a musician and a filmmaker. I got nothing. I have improv experience. Is that esoteric? I don't think so.
That's esoteric for sure. Improv is its own.
Also film, English major. Johnny's also an English major.
Same.
Hey.
William, would you read the section called The Work?
The Conservatory is an institution founded and maintained by the Keepers of the Work, a group of folks who practice, cultivate, and control an occultly influenced craft. While the Conservatory may dabble in a myriad of strange endeavors, pick up to 4 words that represent the folks of the work. You may also draw cards to decide based on their number. And there's a list here. I'll give a couple. Spellcasting or curses, music or dance, fashion or design, etc. What it means for this work to be occultly influenced is up to the group to decide. Regardless, the work is pushing the boundaries of the form in ways that would alarm laymen and experts alike. Concerns about the work are rational, and the hubris of the Conservatory will assuredly have consequences.
Hell yeah. Love consequences.
What a lovely addition. People are concerned about this, and they're right to be. It's going to be bad.
Jonny, would you read Establishing the Conservatory?
The conservatory can be in a college campus, a company building, a government facility, a secret society lodging, a temple, a sprawling nature reserve, a private civilian property, or whatever you can imagine. Where is the conservatory? Pick one or draw a card to determine based on the suit.
Okay, and here's where I reveal
Okay.
that I have a pitch.
Oh,
Excellent.
I love a pitch. Give it to me.
Here's my pitch. And I am absolutely happy if other people have other ideas to go in a different direction. But while I was thinking about this game, I was thinking, what is a fun, sort of academically related institution that I don't think anybody has done a sort of arcane version of, and also that keeps a little bit away from some stuff that we're doing in Pest Control Season 3. And where I landed was a driving school.
Ooh.
A driving school.
Like driver's ed?
Like driver's ed, yes.
Okay.
How do people feel about that?
So your pitch, just to get this so clear, and I'm not making a value statement on it whatsoever. Your pitch for this extremely, interesting and vast and, whatever we can do with it is driving school. It's driver's ed.
That is correct, yes.
The thing that I did when I was 15, driver's ed.
Yeah, that
Where a man came to a classroom and I had to stay after school so that I could learn how to drive. We're talking about that?
You've plumbed the limits of your imagination.
I was thinking it was more like you would go there and learn.
So it's the DMV.
It's a little bit the DMV, yeah.
It's like where you go
Yeah.
to take the driving test.
Okay, driver's ed, driver's school. Sorry, I'll stop calling it driver's education. Driver's school, a school for learning to drive.
For learning to drive, and it could, hey, I'm not limiting us to cars here.
I think we wouldn't be able to limit ourselves to cars.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that perhaps cars can do that the rest of us haven't been able to unlock, but only through the conservatory can we truly get to the bottom of the limitless potential of the human car.
Now, I feel like Jonny is starting to understand where I'm coming from.
I'm easily sold.
Yeah.
How do we make this absolutely mundane thing be infinitely weird? I love it.
Yes. I'm easily sold on concepts like this.
I also totally understand, Sam, how you got to this, because you're right. I don't think anybody's ever tried to do this with a driving school before. And I couldn't imagine why.
Maybe there will be a good reason for that, but I'd like us to find that out together.
We can definitely learn.
It is a game about hubris.
Sounds
Yes.
like you have sold us on driver's school.
Okay, cool. So with that in mind, we need to pick. I mean, I feel like we sort of understand the strange endeavor that we are doing here. As far as where this thing is, does anybody have a pitch, or do we want to draw a card here?
Just so I'm clear, because you did just say that we all understand what our strange endeavor is. Can we just name it? Is it teaching people to drive?
I think it's teaching people to drive.
Okay, cool. Very strange.
Yeah.
A very strange endeavor.
An endeavor that I have personally found very strange. So we need to decide where our conservatory is. Some suggestions from the book are in the heart of a local community, in the outskirts or countryside, hidden in plain sight, on the hill with a view, or in the ancient grounds. Does anybody particularly like one of those or have a pitch for somewhere else?
I would love for someone to pull.
I was going to say.
I was also going to pitch we should draw a card.
Okay. Jonny, I feel like you read this section, so it's only right that you be the one to draw.
I do this.
Ooh.
The chariot.
How apropos.
I did not do this on purpose, I promise.
That's crazy.
Okay, cool. So that is a major arcana, which means our driving school is in the ancient grounds. Jonny, what does that mean?
The town was built around this driving school. Like, it was already here when anyone came to settle this place. The implication is correct. That means that there was a school for driving cars before there was a car.
Love that. Okay, cool. So yeah, like people turned up with their carts and horses, and there was a driving school that was like, we can't teach you anything about that, but when you develop an automobile, come back and see us. Sam Dar, would you read The Community?
The conservatory was built within or adjacent to a pre-existing populated locale referred to as the community. The people within it may have helped build the conservatory, and some could have even become founders. Regardless, the conservatory will find itself figuratively apart from them. Take turns answering one of the following prompts until there is at least one detail about each, and everybody has had a chance to contribute. Number 1, the local biome, flora or fauna. 2, the local culture. 3, the community's response to the conservatory's founding. The conservatory's work will have a considerable physical and metaphysical impact on the community around it and those in adjacent regions.
Excellent. We're sending our drivers out. They're leaving. They're going elsewhere. Sam, do you have an idea for a fact about the local biome, flora or fauna, culture, or the community's response to the conservatory's founding? And since this conservatory has been here since time immemorial, I think we can use the term founding loosely. Like maybe it was the first time someone turned up with a car to the driving school.
It's got to be based where cars were invented.
Oh,
right?
Hey, everyone, does anyone know off the top of their head where cars were invented?
Germany?
Germany and France in the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So is this like a little German town?
Alternatively, I'm seeing that the first automobile suitable for use on existing wagon roads in the United States was a steam-powered vehicle invented by a minister of the Methodist Episcopal Church in Racine, Wisconsin.
So either Germany or Wisconsin.
Or Wisconsin.
What are we feeling? All right, Sam, I think this was your fact. I think you have to make final call. Is this a little German town, or is this it's a place in Wisconsin?
My heart wants the little German town, but my brain says Wisconsin. So I'm going to say Wisconsin. I'm going to go with my brain today.
Wisconsin it is. Does anybody else have an idea?
I have an idea.
Yeah, Lauren.
Because we've said that this is in Wisconsin, I am charmed by the idea that like this driving school, wherever this place is it's in a like dried up lake bed in Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Love that.
What if it's like the size of one of the Great Lakes?
It's just a ginormous lake bed.
And
yes.
It's like just in the middle of that.
Yes.
The ancient one, in fact.
Yeah. This ancient driving school in the middle of a huge lake bed in Wisconsin, where automobiles started.
They drained this fucking lake and they just found the driving school at the bottom.
Yes!
Like a Midwestern salt flats.
They drained the lake? Who is they?
You know, William, we're about to find out. I have an idea for a flora. I think that there is a particular type of tree that grows near this place and grows only in this place that is bone white and does not have any leaves.
I mean, I'll hit some local culture, perhaps. I think this created like it industrialized this area, possibly. So there's like a lot of industry here, and the culture is very gotta go fast, as they say.
Huge Sonic culture here.
A mini Motor City.
Yeah, it's a mini Motor City. There's a lot of big old freeways and bridges. It's like, in old cartoons, whenever they would show like highways and freeways and stuff, and they'd all be like wrapping around each other. That's this. This is that.
Yikes. And this is all in like an old lake bed? It's kind of a nightmare. Thanks for keeping with the horror of it all, William.
Yeah, that is strictly horrifying and not funny whatsoever.
Yeah, whenever you reference a cartoon.
Those old cartoons were horrifying. All right, Miah.
So I'm gonna double down on the flora and add some other trees, specifically the cheese tree, which I'm going to butcher the scientific name. The Glochidion Ferdinandi.
That sounds legit.
Let's stick with cheese tree.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Clidion Ferdinandi.
I'm almost 100,000% sure it's not actually local to Wisconsin, but I feel like because we're in Wisconsin, we needed some sort of
Cheese tree.
cheese type tree or plant.
It is native to Australia. Okay, amazing. So we have bone white trees, like bones embedded in the earth, and we also have beautiful cheese trees from Australia.
Yeah. I do want to point out or describe to our listeners that the cheese tree has fruit. It fruits small pumpkin-shaped or cheese-like capsules that open to reveal a bright red seed. So
They look like little cheese wheels.
Hell yeah.
yeah, they look like little cheese fields.
All right, that is a fact from everybody. So let's go ahead and move on to Foundation. Miah, I don't think you've read a section yet. Would you read the stuff under Foundation for us?
Foundation. Now it's time to start detailing the people and places present at the conservatory's founding. Start by discussing the Great Hall, the center of the conservatory. Everybody should add a detail about it. If using a map, somebody should draw it. We are not drawing it. Next, proceed in turn order with each player adding a wing to the conservatory. A wing can be any distinct area that is part of the conservatory's campus. Repeat until there are at least 3 wings or each player has had a chance to add one. More wings will be added over the course of the story. We will be answering what is the function of this wing and what is its notable quirks about it. Some examples are an archive, a garden, a dormitory, a laboratory, a mess hall, etc.
So I'm gonna come out swinging and say the Great Hall has a drop ceiling, like one of those very standard office ceilings that you see with the squares of like plasterboard or whatever it is. However, that drop ceiling is like 3 stories up. It is like cathedral height up, but it is still a drop ceiling.
Can I propose that there is an ice rink?
An ice rink.
In the Great Hall?
Well, no, like in one of the wings, as a wing.
Yes. I think yes, absolutely.
Oh, everybody's supposed to add a detail to the Great Hall. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
excuse me.
There's an
I got
ice
too
rink
excited.
in the-
Let's do the facts about the Great Hall first. And then I want to come back to the ice rink because I want to know what people are being taught to drive there.
I think that there is a large reception desk and the receptionist must be staffed by a member of the community who is not associated with the conservatory.
It's got a buffet table.
Oh, is it like endlessly stocked?
Yeah, it's just always food.
Nice.
Always a buffet table. Yeah.
I think the desk behind it. Do you know how like in like older like inns and things they have like the keys wall situation?
Ooh, yeah.
I think there's that.
But it's like keys to cars.
Yeah. Oh, Sam, that rules.
when you're like in the Great Hall, occasionally you will hear the sound of like some sort of engine of different like machines and automobiles, whatever they might be. Some that are recognizable, some that are not.
Oh, what if there's like one big, like kind of industrial engine gear grinding sound that happens like once every so often and the whole building shakes?
Love that.
I don't know what the document or the picture would be, but there is this framed document behind bulletproof glass, behind velvet, like ropes that people can look at, like the Mona Lisa or the Constitution, like
The first automobile.
It's a user manual for that first automobile.
Ooh.
user manual. There you go.
And it's been there since before it was created.
It's not clear when it was published.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me... Oh, so we already talked about wings. So Miah, tell us about
Tell
the
us
skating
about this
rink.
ice rink.
Tell us about this. So again, when you are making your wing, the question you are going to answer is, what is the function of this wing and what is a notable quirk about it?
I mean, the function is obviously to teach drivers how to and not to drive on ice. It's like an extreme
So this is big.
expert class level. Yeah.
We're talking like a parking
football
lot
field?
size.
Yeah.
Like football field. Okay, great, cool.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of these.
And you said a quirk, yeah.
Yeah.
Every winter, a pipe busts and leaks onto the ice rink.
And that's just expected.
Yeah.
That's just like, you can almost set your watch by it.
Yeah, there's something that happens. It's, Thanksgiving and then the pipe bursts.
They plan for it and celebrate it.
Yeah.
The busting of the pipes.
That's 2 more weeks of winter, actually.
That's
Is
right.
the-
The breaking of the pipe.
Did you say the busting of the pipes?
No,
The busting
no, we
of the
didn't.
pipes.
We can
I think
walk
I heard
past-
that. I think I
me
heard
too.
someone say the busting of the pipes.
I did promise William that this was going to be the sex recording, so I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, but...
I'm sorry, Sam. Also, the busting of the pipes is not explicit enough for me. So
Oh, okay. All right. Everybody be thinking.
everyone be thinking. So so one of the wings is a dungeon, and actually, I would love one of the wings to be a dungeon, but not for the sex reason.
Okay. Tell us about the dungeon, William.
The dungeon, it's rows and rows of old, defunct, like shells of cars, and they lock people in the cars.
Why?
I don't think I need to tell you that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
That is true.
Is the quirk that they lock people in the cars, or is there a different quirk? Is that just like, that's just expected and there's something else?
The quirk is that some of the cars go missing sometimes, and sometimes the people are still inside.
I have a follow-up question. Can the cars like turn on or turn over?
No, I say no. They don't turn on. Yeah, they're defunct. They're out of order. They're just shells. They don't even have tires. They're just resting on the ground.
Okay. Anybody else with a wing?
So my wing of the conservatory is called the Archive. This is a very highly guarded section of the conservatory because the Archive houses recordings of any interior of any sort of automobile engine type thing. There is just a recording of throughout human history of conversations that have happened in cars, planes,
Whoa.
trains, any
I love that.
transport device.
That's cool.
I like that a lot. I've got something here that I could throw in. I want to say that there is a staff lounge. Extremely like the staff lounge at a high school. That's exactly what I'm picturing. One pretty small room with a microwave and a table and a couch and some,
Vending machine.
lockers or storage. Yeah, vending machine, exactly. And that is the entirety of the wing, is this one small room. And the quirk about it is that it always has that kind of bad leftovers smell that comes from places like that, where too many things have been microwaved over too long a period of time.
Somebody microwaved fish.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it always smells like that. It does not matter Like, you could clean it. You could clean everything in there. They've tried to clean it. They've tried to get the smell out. Nothing helps.
Well, I know where it is. There's somebody pulled a prank and put a fish up in the drop ceiling. There's nothing we're going to do about it.
three stories up. Oh my goodness. I wasn't even thinking about the drop ceiling being here too, but I love the idea that it's just three stories, tiny room with 3 stories up.
I'm going to say that the wing I will posit is the gift shop.
Very good.
Okay. And like classic car wash gift shop, there would be air fresheners and tapes and books on tape and stuff. I think there's also this dovetails into the quirk that I'm suggesting, that there's like one of those roundabout things that has the little license plate keychains with everybody's names.
Yeah.
And there is one for every person in the town. And I think another notable quirk about this gift shop is you cannot leave until you buy something, even if it's one of these $1 keychains.
Now, feel free to plead the 5th, as William did, but what prevents you from leaving? Is there somebody standing in your way? Can you physically not lift your feet? Like, what is the...
In my head, that you just can't see the door. You will never find the door until you buy something.
Cool.
Can we take the keychain thing a step further and just say, like, no one has ever not been able to find their name?
That's exactly what I'm positing, and that they keep coming, and each time there's a new name in the town, a new one arrives.
Yeah. No matter what, like, someone from a different country shows up and, like, with a name that, like, is different than everybody else's.
In a different alphabet.
They never have one in my name. Wait a second.
Mm-hmm. This is what my grandmother used to call me.
Okay, so Sam D.
Yeah.
You're the last one here to name a wing. Just quick review of what we have so far at this driving school. An ice rink, a dungeon, an archive, a staff lounge, and a gift shop.
Yeah. Well, so of course what we need is the deprivation room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the logical conclusion.
That makes sense to me. I didn't want to say it, Sam. I didn't want to be the one that was like, ooh, we don't have a deprivation room, but...
It's too bad that you went last, because you really only had to go with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't leave you with a lot of options.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, tell us about the deprivation room.
This is a room where you can walk in and then have, there's a dial on the wall where you can change it to like get rid of whichever sense you're trying to get rid of, or all.
Oh.
Does that mean you can get rid of touch?
Yeah.
Like feel?
Yeah.
You just go numb.
This is kind of terrifying. This is a kind of terrifying room.
Then
Yeah.
if you got rid of all of your senses, how would you be able to turn the dial to turn it off?
Oh, that's the quirk. Sometimes people do that and then...
Why do they have that as a setting then?
And then they get put in the automobies. And
Then they get put in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's when they take your DMV photo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the purpose of it is to, like, in case something happens while you're driving, you are able to adjust to it. Because there's like a little car in there with a little
Oh, it's like a
projector.
simulation.
Yeah, like
Kind
a
of.
simulation room. Yeah.
Like a simulator.
Does it stay?
When you leave the room?
Like if I go in this room and I turn my smell down, when I leave the room and go back into the world, is my smell still reduced?
I mean, you're not in the deprivation room wing.
No, I think that's the point of the room. Yeah, it's just
Got
in
it.
the room.
That was a
Got
silly
it.
question, Sam.
Sorry, yeah, my bad.
Obvious.
Sorry, guys.
Come on. We all know about the deprivation room.
We all
Please.
know about the deprivation room, and
I'm sure
that's
there's been
the truth.
glitches, though.
Yeah, gotta watch out for that.
Yeah.
Next, each player will create a keeper of the conservatory. This isn't a player character, but rather someone who might appear in the story on anybody's turn. Don't be precious about them. They might not survive the eras to come. A keeper can be a neophyte, which is a trainee or student, a practitioner, which is a researcher or field agent, a mentor, which is a teacher or expert of the work, or a director, an administrator or executive. When we create them, we will answer the following question. What is their specific role within the conservatory? What is a notable quirk about them? Are there any areas in the conservatory where they can often be found? Proceed through the turn order until you have one of each kind of keeper, and each player has made at least one. The director and mentor characters will be considered the founders of the conservatory. Finally, give the conservatory a name and decide on its motto and symbology. For that, we will answer the question, do members of the conservatory wear anything that identifies them as such? And then we will move on to eras and begin to play the actual game. So, I am going to start here with a mentor. This is the person who teaches driver's ed, or one of the people that teaches driver's ed, who gets into the passenger seat with their little clipboard, you know, their little tie, and they make sure that you can drive. And that if you have any of your senses reduced by the deprivation room, that is not affecting you at the time when you received your license. I think a quirk about this person is that they are 7.5 feet tall.
Whoa.
Which makes it very difficult for them to fit inside most cars. They often kind of have to like fold themselves up in unnatural ways to fit inside of people's cars. And they can be found on the ice rink, of course. I'm going to give this person a name. Their name is Shevin, Shevin.
I have a practitioner, which is going to be a person who looks at all the audio in the, I forgot what you called it.
The
I'm so
archive.
sorry. The archive, yes. They look through the archive, they like organize the archive, they do all that. Instead of a face, I picture it having a light from a headlight as a face.
Like the Pixar lamp.
And it's got a robe. Yeah, like a Pixar lamp come to life.
Yeah.
And that's it. It sort of scans that way, looking left and right a lot. And I think it would be called... maybe if you get in there and you get access to the archive, also it gives you a tour a little bit. So you know what? We'll call it the archive docent.
I have someone, I think they would probably be a neophyte. They are a intern working in the gift shop. I think her name is Jan. And I think the quirk about her, perhaps it's an effect of the gift shop itself, she knows the name of every person that has come into that gift shop and remembers it. And before even meeting them, she knows who they are.
I have an idea for a practitioner. His name is Tudor the Mechanic. He's mostly a robot. He maintains the fleet of cars and is responsible for deciding when it's time to send one of them to the dungeons. The quirk about him beyond being a robot is he cannot properly speak and instead makes a variety of car horn sounds. You get used to it. And when not working, he could be found in the staff lounge.
I have a pitch for a director.
Yeah, William, hit us.
I'm thinking a Zordon style, like dude in a glass jar, like head.
Yes. Absolutely.
Middle of the room in the Great Hall. Just like
looking in all directions at once.
Yes.
Do they go through the drop ceiling?
Whatever angle, yeah, it goes through the drop ceiling.
Whoa.
Whatever angle you're looking at is the straight on view. And someone could be like on the back side of the tube and you could be on the front side of the tube or whatever. And you'd both be looking at the face of this director.
You got a name?
Brad.
Cool. Pronouns for Brad?
I'm feeling a solid he, him here.
Shevin, also he, him.
The docent uses it, by the way.
All right, Maya.
So they are going to be a student or trainee. Some say that they've got lost in the deprivation chamber. Some say that they don't want to leave the deprivation chamber. I don't know if this is a quirk or just a horror. They don't have any, fingers and toes. Because, deprivation chamber.
What does that look like? Does it look like they still have the kind of like nubs where fingers and toes once were? Or is it just like all smooth, full like perfect smoothness?
It's not smooth, but like when people, this is kind of like ghosts. Like when people have seen them, like those spots where fingers and toes were are either like scarring over or scabbed over or are bleeding.
Oh.
As though they were removed.
More so like they're maybe trying to remove it. Like they continue to
Interesting.
try and remove parts of.
Oh. The idea of someone whose fingers and toes continue to grow back despite their best efforts to remove them is so horrible and
I
great.
feel like it's more of the like they're trying to keep them from growing back, like just trying
see.
to erase their arms or fingers or toes. And
Interesting. Okay, very interesting. Do you have a name for this person?
I want their name to be like Ned.
Ned.
Pronouns for Ned?
Let's do he, him.
Hey, y'all, can I just say this place slaps? this place is horrible and also slaps. Okay, do members of the conservatory wear anything that identifies them as such? Here's my pitch on this. I think everyone's business casual.
Mm-hmm.
I would love if they had some like polos with their names on them.
For sure. Like Best Buy employees.
Can I add to it to make a
Yeah.
weird, because this is a driving school,
Uh-huh.
and one of the most important things you could argue about driving a car is the footwear.
Sure.
That although the outfit is business casual, the shoes have to be like business attire.
Ooh,
top
like
tier.
polished shoes. Yeah,
like
love
maybe
it.
heels. Anybody who comes in with like flip-flops or sandals is
Or
not.
even like sneakers.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Together, all at once. Let's all say it at the same time. What is the name of the conservatory? Everybody ready? We're all going to say it at the same time. It's all going to be perfect. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wisconsin
Wisconsin
Lake Bend
Driving
Driving
School.
School. Yes, exactly. So which one of those do we want to go with?
I don't know if I heard anyone's
Yeah, I
thing.
didn't hear anyone's except my own.
Mine was the most benign driver's ed.
I mean, I think that a few of us said something really similar.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Lauren,
think
those
we're-
words, the most benign driver's ed.
It was just the driver's ed. Yeah.
Oh, I do kind of like the most benign driver's ed.
The most benign Lake Wisconsin Driving Institute.
Great. Done.
Yeah. I like it.
The motto and symbology of it, I think, are a wheel, a blue wheel on a white background.
Can it be a yellow wheel? Because Wisconsin.
Sure, yeah, a yellow wheel.
Like
Sure,
a
hell
cheese
yeah.
wheel. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how much we want to lean into the Wisconsin part of it, but
All the damn way.
Anybody got a pitch on a motto?
The town has to own this conservatory. It has to be like it's like the Green Bay Packers,
Yeah.
where they all
Mhm.
own the team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can it be like as simple as like, we teach you drive?
Love it. Done. We teach you
We
drive.
teach you drive is good.
No punctuation.
No punctuation.
We teach you drive.
you can veto this. And this is weird, but I guess the motto of Wisconsin is forward. Do you want to add forward to the end of it? We teach
Oh, yes.
We teach you drive,
Drive
forward. Yes.
No one can drive backwards in this school.
The cars are specifically disabled so that they can't go in reverse.
Okay, great. Begin an era. We are going to add all of the cards drawn during the setup phase back to the deck and shuffle it to begin the story. The bulk of the game takes place in rounds of storytelling called eras that have nebulous fictional length. At the beginning of an era, each member of the council, aka the players, takes a stone to represent the influence they will exert at the end of the era to safeguard their mysterious agenda. During the era, players will take turns drawing cards from the deck in turn order, addressing their associated prompts and taking an actualization action. An era proceeds until 2 major arcana, called harbingers, are drawn and every player has taken at least 1 turn within the era. I'm just going to establish your turn order here so we don't have to keep referencing it. Lauren, me, Miah, Sam D, William, Jonny. Lauren, you are up first. Would you go ahead and draw our first card?
Yes, I get to draw things. Okay. 6 of Cups.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
The 6 of Cups says, what local creatures are cherished or utilized in the conservatory? Or, what local creatures are a blight on the conservatory's operations?
Ooh. I don't know why, but I like the idea that because there is this archive where there is a bunch of messages from some weird engines of other machines. I like the idea that there also being some sort of bird that can like mimic speech, that like repeats back stuff.
Ooh. Like parrots or something?
Yeah, like a parrot, or like even I'm gonna go with a raven. Let's go with a raven.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
They have a raven that acts as sort of like almost a stenographer, repeating back some of the messages from these things.
That's super fun. I like that a lot. Raven stenographers. With that answered, you are now going to take an actualization action, the first of our game. This is on page 13, which says, after a player draws a card and answers its prompt, they will take one of the following actualization actions. A player can choose to skip this step if they wish. The options are construct a wing, recruit a keeper, advance the work, a strange occurrence, meeting of the minds, contingency plan, or embellish what's known.
Let's do a meeting of the minds.
Cool. Sounds good. You want to read that for us?
Yeah. Meeting of the minds. A faculty meeting or cohort of colleagues discusses an important plan or current event. The current player embodies a character, addressing the group with a sentence or statement. All of the other players will embody an attendee and quickly state their opinion on the matter. Players should focus on their initial thoughts and not worry about portraying the views of particular established characters unless they have a strong idea about their input. The meeting ends with the first player giving a closing statement.
Cool. And you have basically a sentence or statement, something you want to bring up to the community here.
So I'm gonna, can I pick any character that we've already created? Is that how it works, or is it just anything?
It can be any character we've already created or a completely new person.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with Jan because I feel like she's probably got a Wisconsin accent. So Jan is gonna pose a question to everybody. She's kind of got everybody gathered around in the gift shop room, and she's gonna say, "Does anybody know where the boss went? I haven't seen them around in a while."
I have ticket number 94. Does anyone know when ticket number 94 has it already been called? I'm a little bit worried that I missed my appointment. I had to step out. Does anybody know when ticket 94 is being called?
After ticket 93. That's Brad.
Brad, wait, so who's the boss?
Good question.
Wait, that's Brad. I messed up.
No. Hey,
no.
lean into it. There is a boss that Jan reports to that we just learned is not Brad the director, the Zordon-style dude in a glass jar.
And we are in the Great Hall. We have to be because Brad is confined.
Okay, great. Unless you could just hear his voice throughout this establishment.
You know, I was out there on the ice rink a couple of days ago and I was teaching a little, and I thought that I saw the boss out there.
Okay. Yeah, I was having a hard time tracking them down, and I don't remember what their name was.
The boss?
No, yeah, the boss.
I'm going to be real with you. I don't even know who we're talking about.
It's the darndest thing.
The boss's name is Zippy.
Oh, Zippy. Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, no, I mean, like I said, just a couple of days ago, ice rink.
But nobody's seen him directly. Like, not head on, like.
I don't think so.
No.
Miah, you weigh in here, and then Lauren, you should wrap this with one last sentence from Jan.
I left a casserole in the staff lounge if anybody wants a piece.
Oh,
I thought I was smelling something.
Can I get some of that? I've been here so long.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you work here? I don't think so. Only staff members only.
Asked and answered.
Could I apply for a position?
They do not work here.
actually, sorry, we're gonna have to ask you to leave, but first you gotta buy this keychain.
And that is the end of our meeting of the minds. Moving right along, it is my turn to draw a card. So, I have drawn the Emperor.
Major
Our
Arcana.
first harbinger.
Major Arcana.
A state, monarch, or other outside force with ample capability to enact its power has decided to place limits on the Conservatory's activities. They cite concerns from the community. What must change about the Conservatory's operations? And this is something that will be changed. The harbingers mean that whatever we state here will happen at the end of this era. The changes that are necessitated are, we got to downsize. We got to cut staff. We got to cut. We got to move to a smaller location. Just can't afford this building anymore.
Move to a smaller location?
Got to move to a smaller location.
You want us to move from the ancient grounds of which has always been?
Can't afford it anymore. They'll know what to tell you. Their rent's going up. And I think that is delivered by a pair of state troopers who arrive right in the morning, first thing in the morning, tapping on the glass before the doors have even opened. And when they are welcomed inside, they say, we heard from members of the community that, they want to turn this place into a rec center. So, we got to, clear out. The rec center apparently willing to pay a pretty penny to be in this space. So you all just wrap up what you need to wrap up and, we'll find somewhere else for you.
Would you gentlemen like some casserole?
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, thank you.
Well, too bad. You can't have it.
Okay.
This is why you don't answer the door for cops. This is why you don't. They'll kick you out. They'll get you out on the street. They'll get rid of you.
Pest Control says, fuck cops.
Approved.
For my actualization action, I am going to advance the work, which says highlight a useful and novel development in the conservatory's practices regarding the work. Consider the facets of the work that were chosen at the beginning and answer, how did this development come about? How does it affect the status quo? This is something I've been thinking about since the beginning. They start offering boat licenses. They start training people how to drive boats. There is not a lake. I think that perhaps this is occurring on the ice rink. Maybe they cut out a section of the ice rink so that there's water beneath it. I'm not totally sure.
Kind of sounds like you don't know how an ice rink works.
I don't actually understand that much about an ice rink, is something I do have to admit. But they do begin to offer training in driving a boat and licenses for said boats. That is it for my turn. Miah, you're up. Would you go ahead and draw a card for us?
So I pulled the Two of Cups. I am to answer the conservatory partners with the community. How does this strengthen bonds? Or the conservatory partners with the community, and how does this generate contention? I believe that, being that this is the most benign Lake Wisconsin Driving Institute.
There's others, but this is the most benign.
Yes. The community and the conservatory, there's a form of contention that you need additional paperwork to take a test.
Just like the DMV.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot we're not the DMV, but still.
What kind of paperwork? Like, what's the partnership here? Is it like, you need paperwork to
get a boat.
to get a boat? Yeah. Is this like the institution of,
Well, no, you need to provide additional paperwork when you want to take the physical driving test. Like,
oh, I see. They're like adding stuff you have to fill out.
Similar to like when you have to get a driver's license, you have to bring, proof of location and blah, 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 and whatever.
Oh my God, they're instituting fucking like voter ID laws?
Kind of. Before taking your physical driving test, you also have to provide them with your middle school grades.
Oh. That's very random.
Is this, as far as like the partnership with the community, is this perhaps like maybe a skill assessment, like an additional skill assessment, because the community was like, oh, our roads are too dangerous. Like, we need you to like be working more on safety.
Kind of.
That's where my head went to, that like this extra restriction wasn't the conservatory's own idea. And that's
I guess it could go either way, but like I was imagining that the conservatory was trying to be more like safe and just weed out, some of the people that shouldn't have driver's license, and the
By their
community's
middle
not.
school report cards.
Yeah, so like, because oftentimes, people are coming in to take the driver's test are teens. And we need to make sure that we're giving licenses to smart teens.
Okay, sounds good. Miah, which of the actualization actions would you like to undertake?
I really want to do the contingency plan.
Cool.
I pick a harbinger, which obviously is Sam, that's already in play, and establish a plan to do something about it. This plan will take 3 full subsequent players' turns to come to fruition. When it does, the player who started it takes a stone that they can cast at the harbinger at the end of the era. If the era ends before the plan is completed, it fails.
So if we draw another harbinger before the next 3 turns, it fails.
It fails. Yeah.
So if you don't get to me.
Pressure's on you 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. You should tell us what is the plan?
What's the plan?
That is being established here?
So, being that the harbinger, because like the thing that this, at least you, Sam, is trying to do is make us move location.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Being that that the Most Benign Lake, Wisconsin Driving Institute is built and founded on ancient grounds, I am going to take steps to make this a historical site that should not be demolished or moved.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
We did something like that in the second season of Pest Control.
Nice.
It's excellent. I love when things rhyme.
Get this on the National Register of Historic Places. Perfect.
Yeah. Sam D, would you draw a card for us?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Gosh,
Oh.
dang it.
You know,
Well, that was short-lived.
we tried.
What'd you pull, Sam?
I pulled the Fool because I'm the Fool.
I assume the Fool is a major arcana.
It is.
Right?
It is
Yeah, it is.
indeed a harbinger. Oh.
The Fool
Oh.
says, keepers have made a discovery that unlocks a new infinite potential for the work, but something horrible lurks within the potential that they have not noticed. Answer, what unseen horror awaits the keepers?
So just to be clear about this, because not everybody has taken a turn yet, William and Jonny, y'all are still going to take your turns, but Jonny, at the end of your turn, the arrow will end. And Miah, unfortunately, because Sam was the very
Literally
next
the
one
next person.
after you, we know that your plan fails. Your contingency plan fails.
Thanks for pointing it out.
Sorry.
No. You're
Just
fine.
in
you
case
get how
you
we
didn't know, you failed immediately.
Hey, you failed.
All right. Yeah. Sam D, what is the infinite potential and what is the horror that lurks within it?
I think that people have found out the deprivation room can also enhance senses.
Mm.
Ooh.
So people are using that to make, in the work, are using that to make people better drivers and more aware drivers.
Interesting.
Well, the unseen horror in this room.
I have a pitch if is that allowed?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Because I was already thinking that there would maybe be something in the deprivation room that you could only see when you lost all of your senses.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh my god.
But maybe there's something in here or out there that this unlocks, not just a heightening of your regular senses, but an awakening of another one, that now you can see these things that were here already.
That's horrifying.
Okay, this is also something that I did in Hijinks and Handle Wars.
No, I love it though.
It's so good,
I think,
it's so good.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I like that.
Sam, how do you feel about that?
No, I like it. It's good.
What if Zippy is one of them?
Zippy's definitely one of them.
Zippy ascended to this place.
Yeah.
We ended that scene before I could say that someone has a theory that Zippy has gone peripheral,
Yes.
where they cannot be perceived directly. But now with these heightened senses,
Gone peripheral is so good.
Yeah.
That is for sure. When people are looking into this place with this new sense, they're definitely calling it
going peripheral.
seeing into the periphery. Yeah.
The periphery.
This is why Johnny
Yeah.
is our keeper.
Hell yeah. Okay, Sam D, which of the actualization actions are you taking?
I'm going to do, there's a strange occurrence. Something unexpected or inscrutable happens somewhere on the conservatory's campus or in the surrounding communities due to the conservatory's meddling. Think about the occult influence on the conservatory and how it might manifest. And the answer is, and I'm answering, how do people react to this occurrence? So the things get out of the room and they're in the community.
Nice. Are they coming out through the people?
Yeah, they're like attaching themselves to the people and then they're like going.
Like someone turns the dial all the way up all the way up to like be able to have these enhanced senses, and then whatever these things are grab onto them, and then somebody turns back down the dial, and now there's this thing like phases into existence with them.
Yes.
Love it.
How do people react to this occurrence? I think people want to shut down the driving school.
Damn. No more. Please, no more monsters, please.
Yeah.
From the driving school.
Yeah.
They were like, I'll take the bus.
You're supposed to be the most benign one. Do you know what this says about all the other driving schools here?
Somebody graffitis and crosses out the benign part. Yeah.
That's what we're saying. We're still more benign than the other one.
Okay, great. Cool. William, you're up. Would you draw us a card?
Oh dear. Oh no.
Oh gosh. Did you shuffle these cards?
I did. I promise I shuffled them.
I drew the tower.
The tower!
It's always the tower.
It always shows up.
So the tower. A physical or metaphysical apocalypse looms in the near future. The conservatory is the epicenter of this event, but the community will be affected as well. What we'll be answering is what hubris has wrought this end. The resolution, the conservatory is in ruins.
All right. So,
physical or metaphysical apocalypse looms in the near future. Okay. People in the community start having their vision opposite of tunnel. Like the vision
starts opening up.
No, the vision right in front of them goes black and they can only see the periphery.
Oh, I feel like that's a thing.
It's going peripheral.
We named it.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that they're able to see now is the peripheral world and not the one that they live in.
Yikes.
What would you name those creatures?
Yeah, I guess they do need a name at this point.
Peripherizers.
Peripherizers. That sounds like a Michael Bay movie.
I would like to call them the Racine.
The Racine. Like Racine?
No, like Racine, Wisconsin. Where the first road-ready car was built. To me, that it ties in with the other two Harbinger cars, that like maybe that thing that was done because those things that you can see because you jacked up your vision so much, or maybe even the people who wanted to jack up their vision so much weren't coming to the original location. And it was only because we were made to move that these things were able to get out. And now that they are getting out, they are apocalypsing the whole town and making everyone go blind and spreading, perhaps.
What if in moving the deprivation room, like it was like sealed? It was like a sealed room, and then at some point, like in the move, something got like damaged, or it wasn't sealing the room anymore, and so it was just the way that the room was working started to like lightly just escape and reverberate throughout like the surrounding area. So people who weren't even like near, like someone driving on the fucking freeway, like started to like lose their vision at one point. And it caused a crash. And then like another person like lost their hearing, like, or something like that. But then some people would have their...
It's exerting its influence.
Yeah, someone would have like their vision like amplified, and suddenly they can see like really, really well. And they're like, oh gosh, like, that kind of stuff.
I love that. We know that the conservatory will be in ruins at the end of this era. William, what of the actualization actions do you want to do?
I'm gonna skip my actualization.
Sounds good. Then Jonny, it's your turn. Give us a card. Please, no more harbingers. Oh, okay. I was so worried it was a harbinger.
It really looked like one. I thought it was going to be one also. I have drawn the 5 of Cups. Someone in power is involved in a controversy. What is it and how are they dealt with? Or someone in power is involved in a controversy. What is it and how are they protected? I mean, this is all kind of coming to a head, right?
Yeah.
It's going to end with Brad destroyed, I'm afraid.
No.
Sam, no.
Oh, no.
Jonny, what do you have against Brads, huh?
It's not me, it's the community of Wisconsin that they've definitely traced everything going wrong in town to the time that the most benign Lake Wisconsin Driving Institute was made to move. But instead of just realizing the truth, which is that it was the deprivation tank itself having been damaged in transport, they believe, or enough of the people in power in the town believe, that this is retribution. That the Institute themselves is furious at having been made to leave their home, and so they've decided to wreak revenge. And I mean, I really am envisioning it as like
an angry mob.
Yeah, like torches and farming equipment.
At the end of the 1930s Frankenstein at the windmill.
Someone asks Brad, "Why would you do this?" And Brad says, "I didn't."
And then they shatter the tank.
And they shatter the tank.
And it's like that fucking that huge aquarium in Berlin that shattered in that hotel. Is Brad killed?
Not killed, but he's no longer here.
Can we all just like take each of us like say something as Brad?
Yeah.
I would like that.
Okay, I'll start. I don't care how many times you have to tell me. I want the egg salad in the fridge.
I forgot the sweet sucker of fresh air.
I'm going to have to find a new job.
The automatic transmission is unacceptable. If you're too busy to shift, you're too busy to drive.
Excellent.
The best part of winter driving is kicking off the snow that builds up in the wheel well.
I thought you were going to go with a Folgers reference and be like, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
That's also in there.
Brad's final words. Mondays, am I right?
Excellent. Excellent.
I did not get an actualization action.
Do your actualization action.
I would like to recruit a keeper.
Ooh.
The new manager?
Yeah, I want to introduce the new director who will walk out of the deprivation room. It's Zippy.
Zippy's back, everybody. We found the boss.
What is their specific role within the conservatory? He's the boss.
He's the boss. And he uses he, him pronouns, Zippy does?
I was wondering about that. I don't know. I don't have a visual for Zippy because no one really has in quite some time.
Can I give you one?
You can.
Have you ever had an ocular migraine?
I have not personally, no.
Basically, it looks like having a sort of white and multicolored lightning bolt permanently emblazoned in your vision. And it tracks with your eye movements, right? So it's like always in the same place wherever you're looking.
Even with your eyes closed.
Even with your eyes closed, yeah. To me, that's Zippy.
And you're like, that's Zippy's face?
That's Zippy. That is what Zippy is.
That's how it looks, yeah.
Okay.
No wonder we couldn't find him.
No wonder they wanted to hang out in the deprivation room.
Yeah. Maybe Zippy took it too far, you know?
Oh, shit.
Maybe Zippy went 360 degrees when most people are sticking to 180 on the dial, you know?
Zippy zipped too hard.
Yeah, man, I've been around. I'll tell you about it sometimes.
This ethereal being that's like, hey, yeah, you know what? Hey, I'll tell you about it sometime.
He's got a smoker's voice.
I'll tell you about going peripheral.
Still wearing business casual.
Still wearing the polo and the dress shirts.
Resolving the era. Once the prerequisites to end the current era are met, the Harbinger's resolutions come true. The resolutions are listed as part of the Harbinger prompts, but are intentionally vague. Decide together what they mean, and don't be afraid to be brutal. The Harbingers represent significant historical events that will shape the conservatory for eras to come. Next, each member of the council will cast their stone at one of the Harbingers or abstain. A cast stone creates a concession to that Harbinger's resolution. A concession can't contradict a resolution, but can create a beneficial situation or minor loophole. Any member of the court, i.e. pages, knights, queens, and kings, present during the era and any contingency plans can also cast a stone. Some examples of casting a stone are the resolution for the tower card reads, "The conservatory is in ruins." Possible concessions to this could look like the following. The contents of the archive are preserved. Evidence of the era's terrible experiments are buried beneath the rubble. There are funds enough to begin reconstruction, where the losses sustained garner sympathy from the community. So, does anyone have an idea for a stone against one of these harbingers? As a reminder, our three harbingers are the Emperor, which says that the location of the conservatory must change. There must be big changes. They must downsize to a new location and fire some staff. The Fool, which says what unseen horrors await the keepers. And we found out that there's some crazy creatures that are coming through, and there's going peripheral and all kinds of stuff. And the Tower. Physical or metaphysical apocalypse looms in the future. What hubris wrought this end? Which is we tried to move the deprivation tank and it started letting things out.
I got one.
Yeah, Sam.
For the Emperor one, the location does change. However, it's underneath of the original building.
Can I do one for the Fool?
Yeah.
That the lurking horrors that exist beyond the normal perceptions of human senses also want to learn how to drive cars.
That's good.
They just want to learn how to drive cars, guys.
That's all we're here for, and then we'll go home.
None of you have been listening to us for like years.
We've been trying to send you these messages.
Why do you think we built this driving school? Oops.
Oops.
I think I have one for the tower.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of optometrist offices pop up in town.
That makes sense.
To help people with this new range of vision problems.
Cool.
I think I'm also going to do the Emperor, and that the location must change. I think that is true. We have moved it to the underground. But I'm going to say that when that happens, some of the transmissions in the archives that they randomly were collecting, some of them seems to have been transmitted elsewhere.
As backups, or just they just wind up in strange places?
We don't know where they got transmitted to something.
Okay.
And just moving them has somehow disturbed it.
I have a stone for the tower. Suddenly, one day, out of nowhere, a massive wave of water crashes into the once empty lake and fills it entirely.
Putting us at the bottom of the lake now? Or beneath the lake bed?
Beneath the lake bed. Yep.
Okay. I am going to say, I'm going to put my stone on the tower as well and say, look, apocalypses come and go. We learn to get used to them. People adapt to not being able to see in front of them anymore, to only being able to see the other world. They build new lives around that. And sure, it takes some time to adjust to the wild creatures that now run the streets searching for someone who will teach them to drive. But at the end of the day, when one apocalypse ends, a new world begins. Okay, time passes. Once the era is resolved, decide on the unit of time that will pass before the next era begins. Either months, everybody is still recovering from the events of the last era, years, the influence of the last era lingers but a new normal has been established, or decades, the events of the last era are remembered as pivotal moments in history. What do we think?
I like either years or decades.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Either years or decades.
I feel like I want to go
With
decades.
an apocalyptic event, yeah. It feels like it's going to take some time to rebound for sure.
Yeah, let's do decades.
Cool. Any player then draws a card. The value on the card determines the number of time units that passes. For example, if the group chose decades and a queen is drawn at the end of the era, 130 years will pass before the next era begins. If judgment is drawn, 200 years will pass. If a harbinger is drawn at this step, it will come into play at the beginning of the subsequent era, but won't count as somebody's turn. Establish its details together. Then take turns answering the following prompts until everybody has answered at least one. In this time, what stays the same or changes about the conservatory? In this time, what stays the same or changes about the community? Are any of the keepers of the era still around, and how have their circumstances changed? Then collectively answer, do the harbinger's resolutions carry over to the next era? So, Does anyone want to volunteer to draw this card?
I'll volunteer.
All right, Miah.
3 of Wands.
So I think that means 30 years have passed. Does anybody have a question that they are interested in answering from the sort of end of era prompts?
I want to say that there is a cadre of perhaps former workers, perhaps former students that have dubbed themselves the Collectors of Brad, who have been spending the last 30 years trying to find and reassemble whatever remains of his scattered essence. After 30 years, they have, I think it's more the size of like a crystal ball. His voice is less booming and his authority less certain, but he can speak once again.
One thing that is different with the community specifically is that 30 years have passed and more of the children that are being born these days are seeing peripherally.
I think that Jan is still around and has assumed her rightful place as director.
One of the first orders of business for Jan taking over is finally removing the drop ceiling to reveal a mural on the top of the conservatory that depicts absolutely everything that has happened up to this point.
What changes with the conservatory is that it's not a gift shop, but it's a cafeteria, and you cannot leave without buying something.
That's very
Only
Midwestern, by
serves
the way,
casseroles.
also.
Yeah, and now they get everybody's names wrong.
Yes.
Perfect. And a giant sign that says you can't leave hungry, which is true.
You literally cannot leave if you are hungry.
The docent is out of a job because because the archive is empty.
Those transmissions just kept going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. What is the docent doing now?
Going to the prison and just crawling into the broken cars and being a headlight that just blinks.
That's so sad.
Poor little docent.
That's devastatingly sad.
It really wants to be useful.
Oh. Sam, can I pitch something or twist that just a little bit?
Sure.
I think someone new shows up to take the docent car. The car feet the docent
Yeah.
on a road trip looking for the lost archives.
Oh,
That's really nice. I like that.
Do the Harbinger's resolutions carry over to the next era? Let's take these one at a time. Do we still need to change location and downsize? I feel that we have done that, so no,
Yeah.
It has happened.
it has happened.
But maybe they have to keep moving down.
Just keep drilling.
Because the water keeps eroding away
Drill, baby, drill.
like more and more of their ceiling, and then they have to there's like a leak all of a sudden.
Oh my God. That's what's causing the
It's like the pipe burst.
Yeah.
pipe burst.
And that's what the drop ceiling is for, and we got rid of that. So
Oh yeah, the drop ceiling was really holding that at bay.
it was fucking. That was a
load-bearing
critical piece of
drop
infrastructure. Yeah, load bearing drop ceiling. Okay. Are there still creatures coming out of the deprivation room?
Yeah, but it's like really benign now.
Super benign.
Now they know how to
they
drive.
just want to learn to drive.
Yeah.
Increasingly benign, I feel. Is there still a physical or metaphysical apocalypse looming in the future? That which our hubris has wrought.
I feel like no.
No.
Yes.
I mean, the lake, y'all said that the ceiling
That
is
is
leaking.
true.
But is that apocalyptic?
I feel like for this it is. For our little arcane DMV it is.
Okay. The thing looming in the distance is we're going to dig so far, we're going to get to the center of the earth, and it's all going to catch on fire.
Yeah. There's only so far down we
We're
can
going
go.
to hit bedrock.
The center of the earth is actually made of candy.
Oh.
So
Wow. I think that's it for our game of the Conservatory. Thank you all for playing.
that's how you want to end it?
That's it.
That's how you want to end it?
Deadlights. That's how we're calling it.
It's a slam dunk.
It's a slam dunk.
Thank you, Sam, William, and Sam D, for running and playing the Conservatory with us. I think I speak for both Jonny and Lauren that we had a blast and would definitely play this again. Can one of you remind our listeners where we can find your podcast and any other plugs that you'd like to tell them?
Yeah, we're Pest Control. We are an actual play horror podcast from Althaven. You can find us pretty much anywhere you find podcasts, and we are just about to start our brand new season. On June 1st, we are releasing Scionwood, which is the subtitle of our third season. It is set in the same universe as our previous two seasons. However, it is a great jumping on point for new listeners because it is going to be a completely separate story with completely separate characters. You don't need to know anything about the previous two seasons to hop on board. And it's going to have a slightly different tone. So if the previous two seasons are not quite your bag, maybe give this one a shot. It is going to tell the story of Scionwood, a sinister organization responsible for imprisoning, researching, and developing products from the abilities of paranormal creatures. And we are going to be following 3 of its agents as they do some bad shit. We're playing villains this season as our primary characters. But we are playing them using Monster of the Week Hunter playbooks. So if that sounds interesting to you, come check it out. You like things like Jeff Vandermeer's Area X trilogy, or now quadrilogy. There's 4 books of that now. Apple TV's Severance, or DC Comics' Suicide Squad, then this might be up your alley. Oh, I guess you can follow us on Patreon. We also have Patreon, patreon.com/pestcontrolpod. We have a bunch of cool stuff on there. We're playing a bunch of other indie tabletop games, and William is just about to start a Urban Shadows campaign that is sort of our season 2.5. So if you like our season 2, there is more of it coming, sort of. Sam and William, do you want to give like a 1-word tease of your character for season 3? Just to get the people interested?
Did you say 1 word tease?
Or 2 words, a small, a bite-sized tease.
I can't remember the one we used before.
Yeah, what's my character even?
Well, we know it's a villain.
Mm-hmm.
What's your character's favorite way to kill someone?
Oh, good question.
I'm full of great questions.
Penny.
Love it.
Awesome.
Teeth.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's awesome.
It's actually a great question.
That is a really good
It is a
question.
great
way to kill
question.
someone.
In 1 word.
Well, thank you again, Pest Control, for joining us and for playing Conservatory. Listeners, be sure to check Pest Control out wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you scroll on social media, and we will see you all next time.
I think someone new shows up to take the docent car. The car feet the docent
Yeah.
on a road trip looking for the lost archives.
Oh,
That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, that's really nice, Sam.
See, the words that you said were very kind.
But it's the way that you said it.